Hey, you don't want to miss today. Pull the car over. Just stop. Get a cup of coffee. Listen. And start your thing again. Don't say you'll do it later. Listen now. Open up and go, because we're on the roll and we're on a series called Acting Without Hesitation. The story today that I have for you is about a Hispanic restaurateur who had come from nothing. You see, I believe that it is a truth that God will give you who and what you need to do the job that you are supposed to do. Whatever you're on this earth for, whatever your highest and best use is, God has provided you through past experiences the ability to make the right hay while the sun shines. I met this Hispanic restaurateur on a late night phone call. I had known his wife. His wife had successfully received from our ministry. I had heard of the family. I received gift cards to one of their restaurants many times in the church. And for around a year, she came. I never saw any of the rest of the family. I just saw her. Once in a while, there was a couple of, maybe a daughter-in-law or a kid with her, a couple of kids. And I never learned much. But when things came to a crunch, when things came that I could no longer move, I was boxed in. I was in a place where I could not move. Now, I've always got opportunity. I've always got things that work. But let me tell you, I hope that's a great thing I need to act without hesitation. I'll just shut it off, and I will, at the break, go back and make sure that's not an email that I need to act on. Well, I was in a boxed-in place. That's what I'm talking about right now. Why? Because I follow God. And I didn't have a release to stop doing what I was doing. But the doors had closed. I mean, they shut tight, right tight, just like a jail cell. And laying on my bed late at night, I felt that I had been released into a new blessing. And I decided what I was going to do. And the phone rang. And this Hispanic restaurateur spoke to me. Had never heard his voice, had never spoken to me. And he said, "Pastor, I have heard what has happened to you. I want you to know I haven't been around. I've been busy building another restaurant. And I'm going to tell you that I am with you. Let's meet, and I will show you how to do some things. Don't give up. We are not boxed in. We're going forward." The words he said, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what I laid down on my bed that night and slept like a baby. And when I woke up the next day, I couldn't wait to get started. I had some friends that were coming. They were Job's friends. You know what I'm talking about? They were coming on behalf of someone that was really mean to me in the ministry, and they were coming to act like they were really nice. In fact, after that day, they put me out of their mind. After that day, they said, "Oh boy, he's not going to work. We can't help him." But that day, they were so kind. They rode around with me. I had to find property. I had to have a move. I had a little over 100 people. I had to go. I didn't know what to do. And it was Labor Day, and man, were we looking. And this couple was riding with me, and all along the way, they were telling me, "Hey, you know, you're well known all over the world. Why don't you just pick up and go? Our church will help you. Just move on. Just move on." And I was saying, nope, God put me here. I have to stand tight. And what they didn't know was in the back of my mind, God had supplied. It is a truth that God will give you what and who you need to move forward. As we travel around looking for a property to move this group into, I stumbled upon a place that said furniture store out in front of it. I said to myself, I thought this was a church at one time. It was shut up. It had big steel fences and gates around it. But my actor was in gear. Without hesitation, I pulled into the parking lot, and there was a pickup truck in the parking lot. When I pulled up next to the pickup, I looked over, and in the seat was the lady of the restaurateur. I I saw her. We greeted each other. I met him for the very first time that day. I said, "What are y'all doing?" He said, "Oh, we're out riding around looking for a property. We know you need a building. And we don't have one right now, but we're trying to find one to put you in." Listen, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I was. And he said, "This place here," she said, "I don't like it." He said, "Let's go inside." That's the difference between success and someone dragging on success. Just because you have people around you that love you and work closely to you, they can never take the place of that inner knowing that I must act. The number one man or number one woman is still going to be the number one man or number one woman. You have to act without hesitation. I said, "Let's go inside." We knocked on the door and the person came. They were just setting up their furniture store. Well, it didn't work that day. That man said, "I've decided to close the church, and I've decided to turn this into a furniture store." And he said, "But I do have some equipment I'll sell you." And that day, I had a little money, and the restaurant man saw me invest in my future. Now that's very important. He wasn't going to step up and say, "I'll pay the $5,000. He was there for the long haul, but he did want to see what I would do, and if I was going to, well, let me think about it. Well, let me get, no, I just spent what I had, and I moved forward. The man said, "Check back with me in 6 months, and I might not want to do this deal anymore." Well, we walked out. And the man said to me, "Can you meet me tomorrow morning at a center which is called the Sailor Center, or the Shipping Center, Commercial Seaman Center." I'm sorry. My mind is getting a little dry after 35 years or 28 years. He said, "Meet me at the Seaman Center." So the next morning, I went to the Seaman Center. We went in to see the lady that ran the place. It happens to be the lady whose name was over the top of the door, Lou Lawler. And he sat down. I did not know that he had been a great financier of the Seaman Center. The Seaman Center was a place where men who were on the ships at the ship channel could get off and come in, go to a church service of varying kinds, and make phone calls to their friends at home, and maybe shoot a game of pool and have some refreshments. And the Seaman Center was a nonprofit that had just built a brand new big building and had a room upstairs that would seat about 125 people. When we told her what we wanted to do, she took the calendar off the wall, and because of him, her donor, laid that thing on her desk and began to erase things that were in Sundays and Wednesdays. She said, "How long will you need that?" I said, I don't think I'll need it longer than 6 months. But she said, "Well, let's put in a year." And that day, before I walked out, for no money, I had a place to meet and had chairs, had everything, and we had just gotten equipment. We were ready to set up. She even told me of a room in the place that I could put the thing in. We also were going to be on the roster to have service in that place. And there we were, because of acting without hesitation. I found it. And I had to move the day before. I had to say yes to God on my bed. I had to move, and then God had prepared. It is a truth. Today, no matter what you're in, no matter what you're doing, no matter how your nonprofit has not gotten off the board, off the roll, or haven't begun to move forward, no matter what, God has who and what you need for the job He has called you to do. You say, "Well, I started out and it didn't quite show." I didn't start out to go rent a room or even be loaned a room for a year. I didn't start out to walk upstairs every Sunday. I didn't start that. I started to find a standalone building. But through serendipity, I walked right into the perfect plan of God by having a friend who had already gone before me, obviously not knowing, just doing good works, not knowing that good works would one day come back to him and cause him to be fantastically used of God. What did he teach me that day? Well, he taught me that day, and for 20 years forward, he taught me, if you feel like you need to do it, act without hesitation and take the steps you can take to keep in direction of where you feel like you need to be heading. So my joy to you today is it gets better. Act without hesitation. Knock on a door. Get your best clothes on. Get out. And God will show you that he has everything prepared. God bless you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.